behind our time schedule, but we're mostly on track, so we're going to move forward with James. We're going to give you an additional minute for your own written reflections after that, and then Stacy will talk to us about what happens next.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. My name is James Stevenson, and my ordeal began in 1993. I was a young black man seeking to purchase a home on the northeast side of Detroit. I'm no longer young, and according to my wife, sometimes I'm not a man, but I am still black. But now, I sought to purchase a duplex on the northeast side of Detroit. Signed a purchase agreement and entered into the transaction. I then went on to secure a mortgage. The mortgage company told me that my credit was insufficient, so I had to address the credit issues. I overcame the credit issues. After that, they placed another burden on me. They said, you have to increase your down payment from 5 to 20%. I overcame that burden. They then switched the reason to, your appraisal is insufficient. So I then went and studied all the guidelines on appraisals, challenged them on the appraisals. I overcame that hurdle. They then told me that I needed to build a firewall in between the two duplexes. At that time, I didn't know anything about a firewall, so I ran out all over Detroit trying to figure out how to get a firewall built. Found out that that was impossible. That's something that has to be built inside the home at the time of construction. They ultimately dragged it out so long until my purchase agreement expired and I did lose the home. I felt that something was incorrect. I didn't feel like I was treated properly. So what I did, I started going down to the Wayne State Law Library and also the Detroit Public Library in the Socioeconomics Department. And they have a whole list of books that covers the cable codes, the vocal codes, and everything that deals with that. I then went on to start studying all the underwriting guidelines for the secondary mortgage market and everything dealing with lending. And so after it took me probably 6 to 7 months, but I read every book on every subject regarding lending and construction of homes. I then tried to seek an attorney to help me bring litigation against the mortgage company. I went to over 40 law firms in the city of Detroit. Each law firm told me that there was no precedence for winning a lender discrimination case. There's not enough case law out there for you to get damages, and we can't take your case. So, you know, I was just one of those kind of guys that never takes no for an answer. So I went back down to Wayne State Law Library, and I began to teach myself Federal Rules of Civil Procedure and Law, because I was going to proceed pro se. And I was embarrassed because I wasn't a law student there. I didn't want to ask anybody's help, so I didn't know how to use LexisNexis. So I actually just walked over each floor of the library and just looked for each book I needed to find. After that, I was reading the Black Enterprise magazine, and I saw the Fair Housing Center of Toledo. And I wondered if they have a Fair Housing Center here in Detroit. So I did come in contact with the Fair Housing Center of Detroit, and it was a remarkable executive director who, of course, is now deceased, Mr. Clifford Shrub. I made a complaint there, but you heard Natalie Waleed speak earlier about testing, which is an important aspect in bringing litigation. I didn't have that in my case. So the Fair Housing Center originally could not take my case. So I had to keep going back to the law school and bringing back different instances to prove that the legitimate business reason that the company gave me was false. We finally were able to they finally accepted my case, and we went to trial in federal court. During voir dire, they eliminated all of the black jurors. So it was all white juries with the exception of one. So the company felt real confident going forward. They get me on the stand. It was one of the most prolific law firms in Detroit. They had 4 to 5 attorneys sitting over there questioning me on cross-examination. They had no idea that I had amassed so much knowledge during an interim period of time. So I'm not going to go through the whole thing during trial, but on the last day of trial, they had 4 attorneys, and they brought a big stack of books up there. And the attorney said, Mr. Stevenson, since you know so much about lending, please tell me the difference between FHA and Fannie Mae guidelines. So I looked them straight in the eye, I didn't even look down, and I said, if you look in the book that you have in front of you, in the top left-hand corner, there's a little box that checks off the back. So I flipped through the pages, and they said no further questions. The other side The mortgage company, or owner of the mortgage company, took me outside, and he said, "I'm willing to offer you a job, paying you $100,000 part-time." And you know more than all the attorneys that I heard. You know more than what's said. I didn't take the deal because that's just how I was. I wanted to prevail, and so we ended up winning the case. We won the first successful lending verdict in the state of Michigan in federal court, and it was the first case to be successful in the United States history, which was not turned over on appeal. And the attorney that won that case for me is standing right back there, trying to hide behind the camera. But after we won the case, I went on to volunteer with the Fair Housing Center, and when they got HUD grants, they then were able to hire me as a coordinator of mortgage investigation. So now I help individuals who suffer a similar fate.